Whether you're a chart-topping pop star, a cookbook queen, or just someone trying to pass off Kmart as Chanel, copying is everywhere. Sometimes it's inspiration, sometimes it's theft, and sometimes it's just four chords holding the entire music industry together. From caramel slice conspiracies to your $4 earrings that scream, I'm not Van Cleef, but I'm pretty freaking close. We are living in a world where originality is out, but credit where credit is due. Literally. Hey everyone, and welcome back to What She Said. I'm Moira.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
And this is our segment Reviewed, where we not only give you our honest take on our book club pick of the month, but we also deep dive into the trending topics that have everyone talking. We unpack, debate, and maybe even disagree a little. This week, we are getting into something that touches everything from food to fashion to music. We're talking plagiarism, copyright, and copycat culture. So if you have ever copied homework, created a celeb look, or passed off a Woolies cupcake as homemade, this episode is for you. Now, let's dive into plagiarism. So, what is it? Plagiarism is defined as the act of taking someone else's work or ideas and presenting them as your own. Simple as that, but in the digital age, that gets quite complicated, and it gets complicated fast. So here's what's gone down recently to have us talking about this. In Australia, a public spat has broken out when Aussie food blogger Nagi Mehashi of Recipe Tin Eats accused Brisbane baker Brooke Bellamy, owner of Brookie Bakehouse, of copying her recipes, notably her caramel slice and baklava, in Bellamy's cookbook Bake with Brookie, which I have.
You might have to have a refund now.
I mean, there's a lot of pages in that book, so I was pretty happy for my $30. I can pull two of them out if it really affects anyone. Nagi said that a reader actually tipped her off and later claimed that the other recipes in the book, when she looked closely, mirrored work of others, including US baker Sally McKenney from Sally's Baking Addiction and the late Bill Granger. Now, Sally McKenney also alleged that Bellamy took her best vanilla cupcake recipe. Bellamy and her publisher Penguin obviously have denied the claim, stating that she has been baking and selling these recipes since 2016. Still, she agreed to remove the disputed recipes from her future reprints and faced heavy online backlash. She even shut down her personal Instagram and asked for privacy. To her credit, Nagi urged her followers to stop trolling Bellamy, calling for respectful discussion. The controversy has had real-world impacts, with Bellamy being dropped as an ambassador for the government initiative Academy for Enterprising Girls, which is like an entrepreneurship incentive. And meanwhile, Nagi herself faced criticism from chef Luke Mangan, who accused her of not crediting him enough when she adapted his butter chicken recipe. Though she did reference him in a footnote, Luke Mangan told the Courier Mail, "I would have preferred a bigger mention and at least linking people to our website." So,
that's fair.
That is fair. And just off topic, Luke Mangan food is delicious.
I can't say that I've ever had it.
Yes, you have.
Have I?
Yes, because when we did the cruise for our 30th, the restaurant on the cruise was Luke Mangan's restaurant.
Well, to be fair, that was 8 years ago.
I've eaten a lot of food since then.
Exactly.
Oh God, it was. I still remember that. Was it duck in the Chinese Five Spice? Oh, that was so good. And the dessert, which was something strawberry. So good.
I don't remember.
You were a few wines in. I'll forgive you that. So bringing it back to Brookie. So Brookie, actually, I feel like she was more well known for her cookies. So I'm not really sure how much this impacts her, although it would appear that it's impacting her a lot. What do you think? Can someone own a caramel slice recipe? Because baklava and caramel slice, the two issues at hand here.
Look, do you know what? Any backyard baker is going to follow the recipe of someone. Yes, they may both be in, the celebrity chef world, but they've gotten to it by following someone else's recipe, have they not?
Yeah.
You can't say that, oh, do you know what? My biscuit base of the caramel slice has got coconut in it, so therefore it's something different and completely new. It's not really. It's just an
No.
added ingredient.
That's right. I heard on the radio actually because they were talking about this subject, and I don't even know who was on, but they said, my recipe is actually really similar, but in my base I have chocolate chips and coconut. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, is that really different? No,
And
caramel's caramel, right?
this is
That's
it.
right.
I am not a chef, so I don't pretend to understand the complexities of recipes and methods and ingredients and things like that. To me, it's like a caramel slice. There's pretty much basic ingredients that you need to make that. Like you need a bit of chocolate for the top, you need caramel, and if you want to talk about maybe boiling condensed milk for 4 hours, go ahead if you've got
Yeah.
the time. And then the base is pretty much butter and biscuit if you're cheating. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't understand. I feel like if it was a really complex recipe, I've seen on My Kitchen Rules here where there's some amazing dessert chefs and it's just like layers and layers and like, it looks like an apple, but you cut the apple and it's like a
Mm.
mousse and a gel and a foam and like that if you manage to copy that and go, oh, what's the chances we both get the same version and we both thought of the same like that? There's no way, right? If
But
you
can
had
I
a
say, all of those elements would be made up of the same ingredients to make one particular element. So, yes,
Mm.
it may be a different dessert, but it's the same ingredients that many other people would have to make each element.
That's right.
Right. So, according to Isabella Alexander, who's a law professor at University of Technology, Sydney, she told Daily Mail, a recipe can potentially be protected by copyright law, but it might not give you much protection. It would be easier to claim protection for a recipe that was very unusual, unique, or expressed in a very individual way. So I guess that's us referring back to like the apple that you cut in half that has like multiple layers. Generally, what we're hearing is that you can't copyright a list of ingredients, but you can copyright the expression, the instructions, the presentation, the
Hmm.
images, and even down to the storytelling I've heard. So if you say, I was walking around one day and I was on a beach and I thought, oh my God, the sand underneath my feet feels like a crumble, and that crumble could be made of this. And then I thought, oh my God,
And
let's add a bit of caramel. Like,
I'm the caramel and
right.
my hair is the chocolate.
Exactly. It's how you came up with it is the expression of the storytelling, but you cannot copyright the ingredients. So I actually
Mm.
don't know how they're going to get around this.
Hey,
It's a really bad example to go to copyright if she's actually going to sue. It's a very
yeah.
hard example.
I understand completely with
Oh my
Heston
God, he's just like,
Blumenthal.
yeah.
He is just an amazing chef. He's an amazing dessert chef. Everything that he does is
Yeah.
just mind-boggling. So
Yeah.
yes, I can understand
If you tried
him
to rip off
having
his.
exactly
Yeah.
because that's something that would be completely unheard of. But when it's something so common,
Well, I would argue, like, what, there's 8.2 or something billion people in the world. How many people are going to have original ideas this day and age?
correct?
I mean, for the last, what, 200 years approximately, we've probably been, creating and inventing. And like to say that you've got a unique idea in this day and age is bullshit.
Call BS.
I don't know. Even Mensa, like to be creative is different to being like to having a high IQ. But there's only around 150,000 Mensa members. To say that only 150,000 people, for example, would be able to create something unique, that's 2% of the world's population.
Yeah.
And to say that the lady that owns the bake shop in Brisbane is one of those 2%, I mean,
It goes along the veins of like royalties for music and stuff like that. But you think back, like, who was the inventor of caramel slice? I know that
Thank
they
you, whoever
probably
you are.
exactly, you've
yes.
done an amazing thing. But you think about it, like it could even go as you could even go as far as, well, the person's family who actually invented caramel slice deserves royalties of everyone that's ever produced something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Going down
It's
a
just
rabbit hole.
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. It does get a bit complex. So I
Mm-hmm.
will post a side-by-side image of the Recipe Tin Eats caramel slice and the bake with brookie caramel slice and how it's been
okay.
worded and in the methodology. So I will post
Okay.
that so everyone can have a very clear look and an understanding and make your own judgment. And
So were the pictures the same?
I'm not sure if the pictures were the same. I don't own a Nagi Mahashi book, and I'm not sure if it was on there, if it was online. It is very similar instructions. However, to get a caramel, you literally boil in condensed milk.
Exactly.
To make a
And
base.
adding.
Yeah, it's like place butter, sugar, and vanilla in a saucepan over medium heat. That's
Yeah.
brookie, right? Place butter, sugar, and vanilla in a saucepan over medium low heat. That's recipe 10 eats.
Can I just
So-
say though, Recipe 10 Eats is my absolute favorite go-to for any recipe. I have cooked the most authentic tasting, and I've mentioned this before. I
Yeah.
call it Australian authentic, but like particularly when it comes to Thai food and things like that, that's so much better than a lot of like other recipe books that I've had the recipes
You
to.
have mentioned that before, and actually before this whole thing blew up, and I think it must have been at Christmas time, someone had said to me, if you're looking for a really good cookbook, I think it was Dinner or Tonight is one of hers, Nagi Mahashi, and it was highly recommended. And I was like,
Yeah, right.
I absolutely would go out and run out and buy one of those and cook up everything in there if I wasn't going to be the only one eating it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
cannot cook for one. I have to cook for four. And then
Exactly.
obviously then I eat for four
Exactly.
in one go.
I'm in the same boat because I'm
We
the
love
only
food.
Exactly.
We
We
love
do love
food.
food.
Anyway, look, I guess that's the controversy that's happening at the moment. I'm not educated enough to understand the complexities, like I said, between cooking and methods and recipes and things like
Neither.
that. I just, like we've said, if you publish a cookbook, should it be 100% original? And how do you even do that if you're growing up in 2025? Because
Exactly.
long-standing recipes come from what? How long?
Before anything was recorded. Like,
Yeah,
it's come from
absolutely.
somewhere.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking, when do people start writing them down and handing them down?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's never
true.
100% your own. It's always derived from someone else.
Mhm.
That's
That's
Unless
right.
you're Heston Blumenthal and just have that like wow brain.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I mean, you're always going to have your foodie that just knows flavors and,
Yes.
you know,
Yes, I know.
but the average person, the average cook, the average chef
Yeah.
won't. Like,
No.
they have a basis, they have their knowledge, and then they just work from that.
Your average consumer could usually not tell the difference.
No.
Absolutely.
But it did get me thinking about the whole copying issue and how far can you really take it on something as simple as a caramel slice, right? Got me thinking about copyright infringement. So, copyright infringement is when someone uses protected work without permission, whether it's copying, distributing, or making derivative versions. So, this is actually what triggered my brain. Do you remember when Ed Sheeran was taken to court over Thinking Out Loud and he was sued because it allegedly sounded too much like Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye?
Yes.
Now, in that particular instance, Ed said there's like 4 chords that get used in pop songs. Mathematically, the likelihood of this song having the same chords as that one, it's really common. You are going to get this with every single pop song from now on, but you can only get caught out if you've done something wrong. And I haven't. And his lawyer actually added that the shared elements were basic to the toolkit of all songwriters, which arguably you could say is exactly the same as what's happening with cooking. There are basic elements that get used to make things such as a biscuit-based crumb, a caramel, chocolate. Do you know what I mean? It just triggered a memory with Ed Sheeran, with the interesting comment about there's literally 4 chords for pop songs and they get used just in different ways.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, I remember back in the day, I was in a band.
No!
Yeah.
What was your band called?
Mannequin.
Mannequin.
We're actually pretty famous in our school.
Oh, school time. Right, okay. What year were you in?
It was school time. I think it was from like year 9 to 12. Like we wrote our own songs. It was good. Hey Brid, hey Amy, shout out to Mannequin. I know at least Amy listens. Hi Amy. But yeah, so I think most of our songs only had 3 chords. They all sounded very similar, but
You
they
were
were
just-
very
you-
different lyrics.
You were just staying very safe so as not to be done for copyright infringement.
That's right.
That's a talent to do it on 3 chords as well, by the way.
I know. Actually, you know what? Bridget was that she played like our guitar for us and would normally we'd write a lot of lyrics together, but she'd create a lot of the tunes, and she was very good with those 3 chords.
Got you through a couple
Very
of
creative.
years, so it must have been good.
That's right.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yes.
So lyrics and melodies can be protected. Chord progressions, bum bum, not protected. But do you think most pop songs sound the same? And I'm saying pop. I would
Yes.
not classify Nickelback as pop because we all know Nickelback sounds the same. So I mean, there's no debate there.
I think a lot of them sound the same, and even not even pop, like alternate rock. A lot of the songs sound the same.
Now, I love this genre, but so does country.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, you've only got so many notes that you can play with.
Yeah, that's it. And the people who have come before you have had the luck of being the first to do it. Kind of
That's
like
right.
anything, really. They've had the luck of being the first. James Bond had the luck of being the first criminal, spy genre that did so well. I don't know of any before that. But you look at Mission Impossible, and some would say you cannot compare the two, and I would not listen to them because I love anything Tom Cruise except The Mummy. That was terrible. But I love a Mission Impossible, and I feel like it's a really fun version of James Bond. But you could say, oh, that's very James Bond, like, I don't know. How close is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, there was just
Do you know what?
So many movies are the same.
Exactly.
Like I was telling you about P.S. I Love You, and then I can't even remember the new movie that I watched.
The Lifeless
Lifeless
on
Set.
Netflix.
It was pretty well the same storyline, just made with
Instead of a
using
husband, it was a
electronics.
mother.
Yeah, and using electronics instead of letters. So I mean,
Correct. So there is just so many similarities with creative expression, and it's hard to be original. I think we've said that. But if you're curious about the 4-chord idea, I want you to go and check out Axis of Awesome video. Now, it is hilarious, and it just makes you realize how many songs sound the same. I'll link it in the show notes, but you need to go and check it out.
I just want to touch on, so when I was doing a little bit of research, Harley launched their copyright application back in 1994 for the sound that their V-twin motor makes.
So we're talking about Harley Davidson, are we?
Harley Davidson, yep.
Right.
So
how do you copyright a sound that comes from a mechanical object?
Everybody knows the Harley sound though, right? If a Harley goes by, you know it's a Harley. However, are you not a motorbike person?
I do know, but how can you copyright that when it's coming from an engine?
Okay, so they tried to copyright it.
Well, they tried.
Yeah. So over 6 years, they were met with competition from other manufacturers such as Yamaha, who argued over the 6-year period that the sound wasn't unique to Harley.
Exactly.
Well, it's the way their engine was made up. So their V-twin motor, due to their orientation of the engine and the degree of the V in the motor, creates that particular sound. But they're saying that it was too similar. So ultimately, it got thrown out and they weren't able to copyright it. But many people, especially Harley fans, would disagree and say that it is definitely unique to Harley.
Don't come for me, okay? Don't come for me.
So can you tell me when that was again?
In 94. A lot of people are saying if they were just a bit late to the game. If they had have got it just a few years earlier, that wouldn't have been thrown out.
I would actually argue that now is probably a better time because I feel like there's probably a better understanding of the reverberations of the noise that would come from that particular design and the way it had been constructed. If you could only get that sound from that particular construction, I don't understand why you couldn't copyright that. Because then essentially you own that construction design and therefore that noise would only come from your construction design.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I know many companies purchase patents and produce the same product but under a different brand name. That's common amongst not just motorbikes. A lot of mechanical industries, they do that. So there's one design and then just dispersed. And not cheaper the car or motorbike. It just means they're using cheaper materials, but it's the same design. And I'm sure that's the same for industries as well. Absolutely. But I just know it's particularly strong in that industry.
So I guess the copy versus create debate doesn't end there. So let's talk about dupes, the fashion world's take on imitation. Short for duplicates, dupes aren't counterfeits. They don't use the logos or pretend to be the real thing, but they might mimic the high-end styles for a fraction of the cost. And lately, they've become a retail phenomenon, raking it in at the counter.
So what's Shenzhen then?
Shenzhen is a place in China. Are you fucking kidding me? We visited Shenzhen.
Are they? No, but I'm saying, are they a dupe?
Shenzhen is a place in China. You are talking about Shein.
No, I'm saying Shenzhen. Everything that they sell there is brand, but not brand. Are they dupes?
Shenzhen is a place in China. They are not a brand.
Everything that Shenzhen shopping center, I should have said, sells.
Oh
There we go. Shenzhen Shopping Center.
The Lo Wu shopping center in
Shocking.
Shenzhen in China.
So is that the same as Lo Wu shopping center in Shenzhen? Are they duping people?
Who? Oh my God, I can't even.
All of them.
Now, a dupe is something that comes, for instance, from the barley markets. A dupe like Louis Vuitton.
It's kind of like you know, when you get the Jordans, the Michael Jordan shoes, and it's got a penis instead of like whatever.
Christ.
It's just like
I don't know where you're shopping, but you should definitely not shop there anymore. So, with the cost of living crisis not stopping us from trying to keep up with the Joneses, budget-savvy shoppers are all about the look for less. Recently, the quality and the range has been increasing, and social media influencers are keeping us all up to date, sharing their impressive finds. For example, even brands like Aldi are getting cheeky. Think of their Fruit Loops versus Fruit Rings, the Wheat Bix versus the Wheat Bisques. I mean, I can't buy those fruit rings for my kids. They know the difference. But
exactly.
It's a good dupe. So while dupes don't outright copy logos, they ride just enough on the line to get the point across so that you can twig that's a dupe for that. And that means that they live in the legal grey area. They're technically not fakes, but they're definitely inspired. So creators and designers are trying to protect their work, but it's not easy. Copyright laws protect how something is expressed, but not the idea itself. So when does inspiration cross into imitation? So have you guys ever knowingly bought a dupe? And if so, what was it?
Well, I guess
That's
when
what
you
she
think
said.
about it, all containers are a dupe for Tupperware.
For Tupperware.
So technically, yes, I have bought a dupe, which is like a container, which, you know, everyone refers to all sorts of containers as Tupperware containers.
That's true. It's kind of like your gurney that you clean your driveway with. Everyone calls it gurney, but that's a brand.
Yeah.
I got into
And
this with my
Hoovers.
neighbor. Yeah, that's right.
And what,
I gurney, and she's like, no, it's a kutcher. And I'm like, no, it's a gurney. She's like, that's the brand of it. Bye, Beck.
So, if you're having trouble understanding what a dupe is, do you want me to play a little game so that you can now have a bit of an understanding of what a dupe is, and then you might realize, actually, I have duped the dupe. Okay, well, let's play a game. Do you want to play a game?
Do you want to play a game?
Okay. Yes. Okay, so what you should be able to see in front of you is an option A and an option B. Now, they are the same thing. One is a black t-shirt. The other is a black t-shirt. One is a dupe, okay? In particular, the dupe we're going to refer to is Skims. So one is Skims t-shirt and one is a dupe of the Skims t-shirt. Can you pick which one is Skims and which one is the dupe? Just by the lid.
I am going to say that the dupe is A.
I'm saying it's B.
It's hard to choose from an image. Okay, now I will tell you, or do you want to guess the price of the original?
The original, I'm going to say about $50.
And what do you reckon the dupe is?
I'm going to say the dupe
20.
is probably $25.
Okay, so A is Skims for $88.
Whew.
B is your Kmart version.
Holy Julie, I told you.
10.
I told you it was A. Isn't that, you just need to make a whole video of, I told you.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm sure you're banking that one up. We don't have to. Okay, here is another option. Again, we're going with Skims because Skims seems to be quite the highly duped fashion item. A, we see a black bodysuit. B, we see a black bodysuit. Which one is Skims and which one is a dupe?
I'm saying A is a dupe.
Yeah,
A.
me too.
A is the dupe. Scheme is for $128.
Oh my
B is
gosh.
your $17 Kmart alternative.
I-
What a difference, $128 to the 17. All right, here's your next one. It is the water cups. Which one is the dupe?
I'm
Quick
going to
fire
go
round.
A's Kmart.
A is Kmart, B's the original.
I'm going to do the same.
Yep. All right, what are we paying for it? Let's have a look. Kmart, A, $15. Actually on special at the moment for $5. Stanley, $80
Yeah.
to do the same thing. So A, we have a set of black earrings. B, we have a set of black earrings. Which one is the dupe? Which one is the original?
A is the dupe and B is the real deal.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same.
The brand is
Is-
Van Cleef. I don't know if
Oh.
you can see. I want to show you.
Yep, you've got your Van Cleefs in.
I've got my Van Cleefs in.
Is
You know
that
how
that
much?
earring?
You know how much my Van Cleefs were? $7,400.
Oh my heavens.
I went to
Where did you
Kmart and
get
got
them
them for
from?
$4.
Oh my goodness.
These
Yeah, I was
are your
well
$4 Kmart Van Cleefs.
And we both said they were the real ones were on the B.
A
Yeah.
B.
They look exactly the same. I'm sure the materials are different, but it's not about the material at this point. All right. So this is just a little
Wow.
bit of fun. Just some other dupes that you can see. We have Sol de Janeiro, a $52 little gift pack there. Kmart are offering a $16 version.
Wow.
Chanel, $1,820 for the slingback shoes. Kmart, $22. A highly controversial one, Charlotte Tilbury's Flawless Filter Foundation, MCO Beauty's version, $35. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but it is very, very similar. With the ribbing lid on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's your Dior belt for $1,250 or your Kmart
They're very
$8
similar.
version. Yeah.
Mm.
Back into the makeup. Maybelline Sky High Mascara, $26 when it's not on special. Kmart offering a dupe of $8.
Wow.
To be fair, I don't generally buy dupe makeup only because I have like allergies
Sensitive.
and
Issues. We
Yeah,
know you've got
sensitive.
issues. Mecca is selling the Baccarat Rouge 540. Their 35 ml bottle is $280.
Oof.
And the Big W are selling their dupe for 14 and Air are selling it for 55. I was the very lucky recipient of said Baccarat Rouge, the non-duped version. It is beautiful. It is really nice.
wow.
So guys, that is it. That is our dupes and our reels.
Wow.
I will admit I have bought myself a dupe of the Van Cleef $4 earring. Not mad about it.
You don't want to spend $7,500?
This is so this is my thing. I have never wanted to spend vast amounts of money on things like that. I once got a tax return of $2,500, I think it was. And it was an unexpected one. Like I didn't even think I was gonna get money back. So I thought, you know what? Money I never thought I would have. I ordered from Bergdorf Goodman in America the Gladiator stiletto shoes from
I remember them. I do remember them.
They were beautiful. The sole, the sole, the bit that touches the ground was suede.
Oh my.
They didn't fit.
No, actually, I do remember that. And you were devastated.
Yeah. And I said to my sister, if they fit you, you have them. And she was like, no, send them back. So I had to send them back. And I bought dupe Manolo Blahniks, the blue Carrie Bradshaw heels. So I love a dupe. I would never pay full price for something that is constantly copied, like a Louis Vuitton bag. I understand the quality is completely different.
Do you want to hear something really funny?
Go for it.
When I was in high school, my mum and dad went over to Bali and they bought this little bag back. And I had no idea what it was. Didn't know that it was a brand name. I didn't know who Louis Vuitton was. And so I took it out shopping with me and one of the girls from high school was there. No, it was all spelt properly. Everything was spelt properly, right?
Just pronunciation, Louis Vuitton.
And I was carrying it around and she stopped me and she goes, "Is that real?" And I was like, "Yes." And so I gave it to her and she's like, "Oh my God, I've never seen one up close." I was like, "What are you talking about? It's a bag." And then when I got home, I was like, "Mum, who is Louis Vuitton?" And she's like, "I don't know." She
Oh,
goes, it was
funny.
just a bag and I thought it was cute. I was like, okay, well, someone stopped me and asked me whether or not it was real. And I was like, yes, because it's a real bag.
I would argue that the brand names are made better or in different factories to non-brand names. I would say, I would probably put money on this bet that a lot of them are made in the same factories.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, but I do understand your knockoffs are different materials. So where you might
Yeah.
have pure leather, the other one is pleather. I understand that there is a materialistic difference to what you're paying for. So my Von Cleefs are not made of black onyx or, 18, carat gold. They're made of metal that's painted,
Mm.
probably. I get that. It's the look, though, that I think people go
Yes.
for. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be walking around with your ridiculously sized handbag. You can't even fit your iPhone in. I don't know what people carry around in these little tiny handbags. Or
Neither.
like I watched a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episode where someone showed up with a handbag, a Louis Vuitton handbag that was in the shape of a boat. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a statement piece. That's
Yeah.
not fitting anything in there. But why would you
Mm-mm.
pay money for that unless you have a ridiculous
Except your
amount of
Lego figurine.
I mean, look, Lego figurines have a purpose, so let's not go there.
Yes.
We're not comparing that.
I know. Maybe she just wanted to carry around her Lego figurine so that, had a captain of the ship.
That's cute. That's cute. Well, anyway, so have you duped, Emma?
Not intent. Oh, I mean, probably. Like, I'm not a brand person anyway. If I'm going to buy something, probably the most expensive clothes I've bought is Q, and that isn't expensive as far as other brand names. So yes, have I spent a couple of $100 on a shirt? Yes. Has that been an imitation of something that's far more expensive? Probably, but I have it's not like I've gone out and gone, I like this and I'm going to go find a cheaper version.
So you've not
But
gone
yeah,
and bought
probably.
some of Aldi's fruit rings instead of the Fruit Loops?
Oh yes, I have
So
once,
you
but my
have
kids don't
duped.
like them.
Don't
My
it
kids don't
doesn't
like them.
necessarily have to be fashion or makeup.
Yeah, it was just because, hey, do you want to try this? Yep. I didn't say, oh, they're Fruit Loops. I'm just like, do you want to try this? Yeah, so
Uh,
probably.
Everything is
Yeah.
duped to have a cheaper alternative.
So yes, to answer your question, I would have. I have. Have I? Has it been an intention?
Yeah, she has. I saw her in
Yeah.
Shenzhen in China looking at a pair of Guess shoes and going, I will only give $20 for those.
Yeah, but they were for my mum.
But they were for your mum. I remember buying a Tiffany bracelet and
Yes, I
I
remember.
was like, I only have this much money. And they were like, give me 20 minutes. And I was like, I'll give you 20 minutes. Don't you worry. I got all day. That was a fun shopping trip. Highly recommend.
It was.
It was good until Emma threw her money at the restaurant people. So do you reckon, is it unethical or is it just smart shopping these days with the cost of living and everything?
Start shopping.
Smart
Yeah.
shopping. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Why would you spend $7,500 on earrings?
Yeah.
That's
Just
right.
give me the money and I'll give you a $4 version and I'll keep the change.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, well, that is a wrap on plagiarism, copyright, and the great dupe debate. Whether you're a chart-topping pop star, a cookbook queen, or just someone trying to pass off Kmart as Chanel, copying is everywhere. Sometimes it's inspiration, sometimes it's theft, and sometimes it's just four chords holding the entire music industry together like a dodgy
Or
IKEA
three.
shelf. Or three, if you're a mannequin. From caramel slice conspiracies to your $4 earrings that scream, I'm not Van Cleef, but I'm pretty freaking close. We are living in a world where originality is out, but credit where credit is due. Literally. Tag us in your favorite dupes, weird copyright drama, or your most shameless copycat moments. And if you thought copyright and caramel slice drama was spicy, wait until you hear what we've got in our next episode. Our April book of the month was Submissive by Tara Sumi. Yes, the one that had us all clutching our pearls and double checking our safe words. Pour a wine, fluff a pillow, and prepare for all things dominant submission and whether your book club needs a red room. And if you are loving us so much, then check out our new segment, Unspoken, where secrets are shared, confessions are spilled, and dilemmas are debated. Anonymously, of course. We dive into real life listener submissions, some hilarious, some heartbreaking, some jaw dropping. And we give our take on what we would do and what we probably shouldn't. It's like group therapy with your unfiltered, outspoken mates, minus the invoice and the certifications on the wall. We're not trained professionals, but we are pros at keeping it real. Or that doesn't sound like you've seen, why not go over and check out our pick of the week, where we shine a light on things that have us totally hooked right now. From game-changing contraptions to beauty buys and places we've loved, hacks, everyday routines that just work. If we're obsessed with it, we're sharing it with you. Think of it like a group chat recommendation, but way more fun and with fewer screenshots. Massive thanks to everyone who has tuned in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. You've been listening to What She Said. I'm Moira.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. That was fun. That was so much fun.